Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is another 10 infamous wrestling receipts. Before we get into it, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it. Let's get into it.
1, 2, is this on?
The physical nature of wrestling means that the action can very much become all too real, whether the wrestler is laying it in, working snug, or throwing a stiff potato. This can happen sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose, and sometimes accidentally on purpose. We'll look at examples of each today as we highlight 10 more wrestling receipts. First, we have a recent example of a receipt that came about following the men's War Games match at Survivor Series 2022, where the Bloodline took on Drew McIntyre, the Brawling Brutes, and Kevin Owens. During the match, Owens slapped Roman Reigns hard in the face. The slap's connection made a wicked sound and led to a subsequent slugfest. Roman had a bruise under his left eye afterward and suffered an eardrum injury, which may have been a result of Owens' slap. Regardless,
okay, I do remember that. Like, I remember, during the match and after the match, Roman kept like going like this with his jaw. I thought at some point in time in the match, he probably injured or possibly dislocated his jaw at some point. I didn't know it came from the slap from Kevin Owens and ruptured his eardrum or injured his eardrum. That's interesting.
Reigns was said to have been legitimately upset with Kevin after the match. However, the tribal chief opted against handing out Owens' receipt during the War Games match. Reigns instead waited until their next encounter on the final SmackDown of 2022, where Roman teamed with Sami Zayn to face Owens and John Cena. During the bout, Reigns gave Owens a stiff lariat, sending KO straight to the mat. Cena's reaction on the apron said it all.
That was a receipt?
It was one hell of a shot by the head of the table, but it was Owens who had the last laugh when it came to the match, as it was he and Cena that got the victory.
Although he did suffer a nasty bruise to the eye at the hands of Reigns.
Hey, I don't think Kevin got the last laugh just because he won the match. I mean, he got a bruised eye. And Roman Reigns, when people tell you to save your receipts, Roman Reigns definitely did that and used it when he needed to.
Next, we have a receipt that was 2.5 years in the making. It all started with the NWO's parody of the Four Horsemen from WCW Monday Nitro in 1997. Arn Anderson and his wife were unhappy with Kevin Nash's impression of Double A. They took Nash making fun of Arn's drinking habits as a mean-spirited personal attack. The Horsemen were meant to get their revenge on the same night of the parody. However, plans changed. Then, once the Fall Brawl War Games pay-per-view came around, the Horsemen were decisively beaten by the NWO. And with Arn Anderson having retired from the ring earlier that year, it appeared as though the Enforcer wasn't going to get any form of payback on Nash. That was until January 2000 when Anderson made a run-in during Nash's match against Bret Hart on Nitro. When Nash was outside the ring, Arn ran down and attacked Kev from behind with a lead pipe.
Hey,
Arn would say that the pipe shot was not a receipt for the parody and was instead merely an accidental potato.
I don't have to address something from behind with a lead pipe. It's not the way I operate. So if he got potatoed, it was purely accidental, which I apologize to him that night.
Oh, Kevin Nash that looked intentional right there.
He hit me with a wrench in Florence. You talking about a receipt? Lightning bolt shot out of my ass.
Either way, it was the first time Arn was able to get physical with Nash after the parody, even if it occurred during a different storyline a few years later.
Oh, hold on. Nobody believes that wasn't on purpose, man. You swung so hard, you almost lost your balance. That's how hard you swung that lead pipe, Arn. But also at the same time, yeah, the fact that they became cool after it was over. Of course, you seen how tall Kevin Nash was? Did you see how Kevin Nash was back then? Bro, if I hit him in the back with a lead pipe, I'm making sure before the night is over and before he even decides to get his receipts, we gonna be the best of friends. Like, hey, man, you want to go somewhere to eat, man? What's your favorite movie? I'll watch it even if I don't like it. Whatever I need to do to make sure you don't kill me, I'm gonna do it.
A receipt on its
some things, man, not everything.
Tone is bad enough, but a receipt at the hands of an unprotected steel chair shot is the stuff of nightmares. A receipt of this nature occurred during the Raw elimination match at Survivor Series 2004.
Maven was assaulted before the match by Snitsky, who landed some stiff shots.
When he returned, he went straight for Snitsky. Maven hit a jumping elbow, which hit Snitsky square in the eye.
Yeah, that was woo.
This cut Snitsky open and left him with a nasty gash, with blood dripping down his face onto his chest. Since Snitsky was booked to get himself disqualified by hitting Maven with a chair, it was important for Maven to lay it in so that Snitsky had a suitable reason to get his revenge. And even though Maven struck Snitsky by accident, it worked out for the better given the nature of the angle.
And Snitsky responded with a thunderous chair shot.
Oh!
Snitsky gave out more chair shots to Chris Jericho and Randy Orton. After this, he walked to the back with blood still pouring from his eye. This was Maven and Snitsky's only ever pay-per-view main event, but you have to give them credit as their receipt exchange helped add to the match.
All I did was give his face a tiny bit more character. And if he did give me a little bit of an extra receipt in that, I had it coming.
A blast from
the only time I really remember Maven is from him winning the first Tough Enough. I don't remember any, if not most of his matches. I remember them happening, but I can't name them off the top of my head if you ever ask me.
From a steel chair was the receipt in the last entry, but our next receipt is the result of a hard chair shot. Occurring on the first SmackDown of 2003, Paul Heyman and Big Show cut a promo, calling out Brock Lesnar, who then appeared on stage only to be attacked from behind by Matt Hardy wielding a chair.
Oh man.
The chair shot busted Brock wide open with the back of his head completely covered in blood.
Yeah.
Lesnar was quick to get his revenge though, and it came as a result of a vicious clothesline.
That clothesline ain't enough. Not for that.
In the night. Lesnar refused medical attention and didn't even put on his wrestling gear for the match. Brock gave Matt a merciless beating and a highly entertaining squash. Hardy's follower Shannon Moore also received the pummeling, being hit with an epic F5. Hardy was also given an F5 which earned Brock the victory. Lesnar came across like a tough as nails, unstoppable monster, in no small part thanks to Hardy and Shannon Moore, who made the next big thing look like $1 million. When the Dudley Boyz joined the WWF in 1999, they were immediately paired with the Acolytes. The two teams had numerous very physical encounters. This was done as a way of testing the Dudleys to ensure that there was no repeat of what happened with the Public Enemy. The Public Enemy had previously tried to change the finish in a match with the Acolytes right before they went out. Farouk and Bradshaw then subsequently destroyed them and sent them packing from the WWF. The Dudleys made their presence known during their WWF debut by attacking the Acolytes with 2x4s. Bubba in particular made sure to lay it in, giving Bradshaw 2 legit smacks one after the other.
King the Dudley Boys! Bubba hit me so hard with that 2x4. I lost feeling in my feet and my hand. Wow.
The next week, Farouk and Bradshaw were ready to give it right back to Bubba Ray and Devon when they ran in during an interview segment.
Look out! Good! The Acolytes! Farouk and Bradshaw!
The Acolytes beat the Dudleys around with 50-gallon drums, getting their receipt
50 gallons?
Prior SmackDown.
They were ready to kill us. They hit the set. They beat the crap out of us. Ron Simmons is picking up a 50-gallon drum. Yeah. A shoot 50-gallon drum and just having his way with the both of us.
That wouldn't even Devon's fault though.
All live round.
After the segment was over, both teams shook hands and thanked each other. The Dudley Boyz had proved that they could hang and do business whilst earning the respect of the locker room who were watching on.
I think that's pretty dope. For one, the fact that they're able to just get over it and be like, yeah, this is what happened. It's all good and dandy now. So I think that's respectable. This does make me miss that era of wrestling so much, man. I miss peak Dudley Boyz. I miss table matches, man. It was so fun back then. I miss the Acolytes. I actually was a fan of the Acolytes. My creative player in WWF No Mercy, his finisher was the Dominator. I got that from Farouk. And in my personal opinion, and I know a lot of people won't agree with me, and I get why. I know this is an obscure opinion. The Acolytes version of JBL was actually my favorite version, right? The new JBL version is cool, but I like the Acolytes version. He just seemed more vicious. Like even the clothesline from Hell just seemed a little bit more vicious back then as opposed to later on. But that's just my personal opinion. Let's keep going.
In wrestling can be hit or miss, as seen from the Jackass Crew's appearances in WWE. In 2006, Stevo enraged Umaga due to not staying down after a beating, instead laughing after being attacked, leading to Umaga legitimately knocking Stevo unconscious. Johnny Knoxville will have been hoping he fared better than his fellow cast member during his WWE run, which began when Knoxville entered the Royal Rumble match in 2022. However, things started with a rough exchange initiated by Knoxville. AJ Styles gave Knoxville one free shot, to which Johnny responded with a clubbing forearm.
I'm not sure how wise that was.
Unlike with Stevo and Umaga, this was all in good fun, but Knoxville was still owed a receipt. He told Styles to bring it, and the Phenomenal One obliged, firing back with a snug clothesline.
Knoxville said bring it, and Styles, oh my goodness!
Knoxville then ate a frog splash from Montez Ford and was eventually eliminated by rival Sami Zayn.
Bring it, Sami Zayn!
As we've seen,
I mean, Johnny Knoxville, he likes pain, so it just, you know.
From our previous videos, Perry Saturn can certainly dish out a receipt, as was the case when he punished enhancement talent Mike Bell. But some 7 months later, Saturn was on hand to deliver more receipts, this time in another physical match versus a local competitor, Brian Gamble, on an episode of WWF Metal in December 2001. The story goes Gamble claimed they were resting in his hometown.
Was his name a play on of Brian Gumble? Is that what they try to do?
And had friends and family in the audience, and for that reason he wanted to get more offense in than a typical jobber would. The match starts off with Gamble performing a hip toss, to which Saturn then responds by asking Gamble, "Are you trying to shoot on me?" before giving Gamble a strong slap to the face. Gamble replies with a shove, only to get annihilated with a massive spear. But there was still more to come, as Saturn also delivered a hard kick to the back. Gamble managed to hit a spinning elbow, where he then tried to go for a cover, but Saturn wasn't having any of it. Perry brought Gamble down one more time, allowing Saturn to lock in a submission hold, which got the win. It's not known for sure if Gamble truly did go into business for himself, but the match plays out quite differently to a typical enhancement squash, with the wrestlers being on different pages at various points in the match.
Yeah.
If you're looking for
Here's the thing though, with Perry Saturn, really quick, don't ever hip toss him, because you do a hip toss to him, that the bigger guy they showed before, he did a hip toss on him. Perry Saturn went crazy on that man. So I don't know what it is about hip toss. Perry Saturn just loses his mind every time somebody does that to him and tries to kill that person.
Wrestler getting angry with his opponent and
damn,
subsequently assaulting them for real in the ring, then look no further than New Jack. New Jack was up to his old ways during a match for a Florida independent promotion in October 2004. New Jack's opponent was a green wrestler named Hunter Red. The two immediately got off on the wrong foot when Red refused to talk over the match with Jack backstage. Then once the bout began, Hunter Red began laying into the original gangster, nailing him with two stiff potatoes before then trying to manhandle New Jack. Jack responded by pulling out a blade from his pocket and driving it directly into Hunter Red's body 9 times.
I grabbed the rope and I pulled a knife out and started stabbing him.
I stuck him like 9 times. What the? Oh my! He's stabbing this mother. Run!
The few fans in the audience reacted in complete horror. New Jack had to be pulled away from his opponent by the promoter. New Jack was charged with aggravated battery and faced up to 15 years in prison. However, he was given a lifeline by the victim of his assault, Hunter Red. Red agreed to drop the charges provided he and New Jack turned the incident into an angle and toured around the Florida independent circuit, wrestling matches against one another. New Jack agreed provided Hunter Red dropped the charges first. Once Red did so, Jack left Florida and never spoke to Hunter Red again.
He got lucky, bro. He got lucky. But you know what I think is going to happen? This is conspiracy theory. This is wrestling fan, tin hat, tin foil thing going on. I don't know. I don't have anything to support this. You can't, people, I don't know. I don't know this guy. I know who New Jack is. I don't know him personally. But I'm assuming that where the other wrestler was looking to press these charges, New Jack was probably like, hey, you know what? You can go ahead and do what you want to do. But if you put me in a cell, you remember your daughter, Samantha? You know, she go to Newberry, elementary school. Remember that street you live on? Livingston Drive, remember that? Yeah, I got some friends who know exactly where that is. So if you want to put me inside, you put me inside a cell, we're going to put you in the ditch. So you let me know how you want to play. And you're like, oh, you know what? Let's just drop it and we just turn it. He's like, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. That's what I think happened. And this is the guy that Ex-Con Dom thinks he is. That's literally what he is. This is who Ex-Con Dom think he is. This guy's actually doing this stuff, man. This is stabbing somebody, bro, is wild in the ring in front of everybody. I get the guy punched him, but god dang, man.
And dropped the charges. I went home and I left Florida.
Rikishi's always been known as a fun-loving, jovial character
that
never failed to entertain the people. So it was a surprise to fans when he lost his cool whilst wrestling a tag match in the WWF's former developmental territory, HWA, in December 2001. Rikishi wrestled against a team featuring Haku and Russ McCullough. A planned spot was to see Russ hold Rikishi in place for a kick from Haku, only for Rikishi to move, leading to McCullough getting accidentally hit instead. The problem was Rikishi was supposed to move to the left, but ended up moving right instead, meaning Haku's kick hit Rikishi hard in the face. This infuriated Big Kish, who went to the outside, grabbed a fan's chair and went straight for McCullough. Rikishi rained down chair shot after chair shot, completely bending the chair in half and forcing McCullough to retreat to the back. Rikishi was none too pleased with being potatoed, and there was a further altercation once the wrestlers got to the backstage area. It was there that Rikishi and other Samoan wrestlers threatened to beat up Russ. McCullough had already been told that his contract wasn't going to be renewed, and he was allowed out of his deal early straight after the match.
Don't that guy like a bigger Brian Kendrick a little bit? And the fact that the guy got out of his contract early makes all the sense in the world, bro. You got some Samoans coming after you. They're going to use mana, all kind of stuff to find you, bro. Get out of the contract. Get out of the state. And he better be lucky that it's Rikishi and not Sabu who was after him. If Sabu was after him, this might be on Netflix, bro. This might be on Murder Mysteries, whatever show you watch. This was going to be on there.
For our last entry, we go to Japan in 1990, where a huge interpromotional match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship saw All Japan's Stan Hansen challenge New Japan's Big Van Vader in one of wrestling's stiffest ever matches. Even before the match began, Vader suffered a broken nose whilst on the outside after Hansen swung his cowbell at him.
He was telling me, he says, you know, you hit the thing came back, broke my nose right off the bat.
Once things got underway, the physicality continued with both men hitting each other for real, with Vader in particular landing some very stiff shots. Hansen responded with a melee in the corner, where he ended up sticking his thumb into Vader's eye, causing it to pop out, resulting in an insane visual. Vader showed incredible toughness, pushing his eye back into his socket and holding it in place with his eyelid. The match continued, as did the punishment. The two men beat the holy hell out of each other, with the action eventually spilling to the outside. The match ended in a double countout after both men continued brawling in the crowd.
All the bones in my face had to be fused. So, I mean, all my cheekbone was broken, all this was broken. My whole nose was crushed.
Extensive surgery was required on Vader's face following the match. And that brings us to the end of this video. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And
man, wrestling flashbacks, man, you outdone yourself with this list, man. This is pretty crazy. And I did not know that their situation between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens was a receipt. Not saying that they had beef, but I didn't know that at all until they said something. But this was a pretty good list. And for me, I don't know why I get like, whenever I see people get their teeth knocked out, I've seen it happen in real life before and everything, or someone get their eyeball popped out, or some injury in the eye that makes the eye come out. It just gets me every time. I don't know why. I don't know what kind of phobia that is or what they call it, but whatever it is, I got it. All right. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Is there some receipts that were not listed in this? I think there was some, because this says another 10 infamous wrestling receipts. So obviously there was a video previous to this. So maybe I need to watch that one too. But if there's some that you know that wasn't in the previous list, that was not listed here, or if you didn't see the previous video, let me know some that wasn't listed here in the comment section. I would like to know. This was a pretty good one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute. Peace. Have a good day.